science in the form of science fiction has long been popular in Hollywood, but what about films that convey science facts? Well, check out the awesome fusion of true science and storytelling in the top 5 science communication moments in film.
Dante's Peak. In the town of Dante's Peak, a volcano is turning nature into a nightmare.
Yay, volcanology! How awesome are natural disaster movies that are based on real life? Especially ones that real-life scientists say are actually pretty accurate. In fact, the film's kind of, faithfulness to the eruption of the Mount St. Helens volcano in 1980 had geologists at the University of Maryland in such a state of nerdgasm that they penned the geological guidebook to Dante's Peak. They said, "We can think of no movie or television series that portrays scientific concepts and scientific practices as well as this flick does." Dante's Peak teaches us all about why hot springs are hot and the mechanisms of composite volcano eruption. But despite all the praise, you might not want to substitute watching Dante's Peak for your masters in volcano seismology, as there's a few minor scientific inaccuracies such as fast-flowing magma, acid water that melts metal but hasn't yet melted these fish, but there's James Bond and Sarah Connor, so we'll take the win.
I think we've found a way to repair your daughter's heart.
Postponing means signing that baby's death warrant. I'm operating tomorrow.
This film has the line I always hoped my biology teachers would say.
Put away the books, Vivian. Let's not waste any more time on theoretical crap. Let's start with experiments.
This film is about 2 important cardiac surgeons, the father of modern heart surgery, Alfred Blalock, played by Professor Alan Rickman, and his sidekick, Vivian Thomas, played by rapper Mos Def. Now, as if the cast isn't cool enough, this movie also explains the functioning of the heart and the experimental process which led to the first treatment for blue baby syndrome. It also shows the totally crap treatment of women and African Americans working in the sciences during the 1940s, but don't worry, they get the last laugh. October Sky is based on the true story of Homer Hickam, a working-class kid from a small coal mining town in Middle America. In 1957, Homer becomes so totally freaked out by the awesomeness of the Sputnik 1 launch that he shuns a promising career in coal mining and takes up backyard rocketry instead, and basically gets disowned by his dad. But the reason why I love this movie so much is the use of classic scientific method. Homer and his mates, known as the Rocket Boys, are wrongly accused of starting a forest fire. To prove their innocence, Homer applies his knowledge of rocket trajectories and uses trial and error testing to build a working theory that successfully proves their innocence. Yay, scientific method! There's also some detectable chemistry, of the sexual kind, between Jake Gyllenhaal and his super supportive school teacher Laura Dern. It's all totally above board though, it's just their love for the scientific method coming out through their eyes. Rare diseases and drug discovery don't usually make for Hollywood blockbusters, so yay Harrison Ford for taking this role and raising awareness for Pompe disease.
In both kids, it's the heart that's the real threat to their lives.
How much more time do we have?
Megan, maybe a year. Patrick, less.
Average suburban parents Brendan Fraser and Kerry Russell totally don't have access to drug development money, so Brendan, dedicated dad and go-getter that he is, works out a way to raise a bucket load of cash, start up a biotech company, and recruit Harrison Ford, the most random but totally awesome glycomic research scientist ever. Extraordinary Measures does a good job of showing how difficult it can be to get drugs developed for rare and unsexy diseases, how medical research is conducted, and the financial clusterfuck that is scientific innovation. But the most science communication props go to Harrison Ford for lines like these.
Science takes time, Jersey. Don't they understand?
Nobody's gonna tell me how to run my lab.
I don't care about money. I'm a scientist. I care about more important things than that.
Oh, Mr. DNA, where did you come from? From your blood. Just one drop of your blood contains billions of strands of DNA. Now, we can make a baby dinosaur.
You feel that?
Scientific consensus is that DNA breaks down too fast to ever be recovered by modern man, making the premise of this film totally science fiction. But whatever, it's still a humongous science communication win. This little animation taught millions about the possibility of DNA cloning, and inspired an entire generation of kids to want to venture out into no man's land and dig up old bones, all in the name of science. Extra awesome factor comes from Jeff Goldblum as a leather-clad mathematician and Laura Dern again as a short-wearing paleobotanist, as well as the late and great Richard Attenborough, brother of our real-life science communication hero, David Attenborough.